Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is CareGiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teele. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teele, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Caregiver Solutions Info. Thank you for joining us today. We have a great show. Caregiver Solutions Info is dedicated to you, the family caregiver, to bring you information from experts in the professional field that can talk about different topics that might just be what you're looking for to solve your caregiving problem. We all have problems, and caregivers are no different. Caregiving is difficult. No one ever said it was easy. And so this is another way for caregivers to get the information they need, whether they go to support groups, whether they go to seminars, whether they read books. There's nothing like listening to someone who's an expert in their field that can share the information with you. And the best part is you can even contact them later after the show and get more information from them. So I'm so glad you joined us today. Today is Tuesday, August 4th, 2015. And so far this previous weeks, we've been talking about the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's disease. And we are up to number 8 this week. But as a very, very quick review, for those that haven't been able to join us in the prior weeks, we want to give you this information. It's actually printed by the National Alzheimer's Association. 10 warning signs you want to look for in families and friends that could indicate that there's a need to go see a doctor, to go see a neurologist, and get checked out. Number 1 is memory loss. Then, difficulty performing familiar tasks, problems with language, disorientation to time and place, poor or decreased judgment, problems with abstract thinking, misplacing things, and this week we're talking about changes in mood or behavior. Now, everybody has bad days. Everybody can get angry over something. Everybody has reasons to be up and down, and that is normal. Normal is occasionally feeling sad or moody, occasionally, and it's not major mood swings usually. So a warning sign is if someone is going along and they're happy-go-lucky, and in a split second, they change their mood, and now they're totally angry. They're lashing out. They physically want to lash out, verbally want to lash out, and that's not their normal personality. Major mood swings, and it can go, kind of either way. You can have someone who gets very angry from a normal state, or you can get somebody that becomes very, very sad from a normal state for no apparent reason. And these are warning signs to look for as part of those 10 different steps that we want to address each week. So if you are experiencing this in your loved one, in someone that you know, maybe you want to, let them know that it might be time to go see a doctor and see if you can help them out. So the 10 warning signs from the Alzheimer's Association. Also, I'd like to talk a little bit about respite care. A lot of caregivers ask me about respite care. They might hear about it at a support group. Maybe they read about it somewhere, but they're not quite sure what that means. So we want to talk for a few minutes about what is respite care. Basically, respite care is short-term care for your loved one that you're taking care of that gives you, the caregiver, a break. Everybody needs a break. McDonald's made it famous. You deserve a break today. Well, caregivers deserve a break I think, every day. And the stress that's put upon caregivers, they don't even realize that sometimes how stressful things do get. And it's only by taking a break that maybe they can realize, wow, I was really off my game, or wow, I really shouldn't have yelled at my husband, or wow, I really shouldn't have taken out my problems like that, on my friend. So a respite care is a way for you, the caregiver, to take a break and at the same time have your loved one in a safe environment. Now, you can do respite different ways. You can have respite in the home where you have a qualified caregiver come into the home and give you a break for a few hours, either every day, a few times a week, so that you can get out and you can go to lunch with your friends. You can go to the grocery store. You can go get your hair done, go to the barber shop. Whatever it is, you need a break, because even though caregiving is something that you want to do, you're dedicated, you're a loving caregiver, you need a break. And doing it 24/7 is very, very difficult. And that's why there's that book, The 36-Hour Day, because caregiving crams more hours into a day than most people have in 24 hours a day, because it feels like it's overwhelming. Well, it is overwhelming, but it feels more like it's a 36-hour day rather than a 24-hour day because of everything that you've got going. So respite care can be in the home. Respite care can also be at a assisted living. If you're dealing with someone with dementia, there are places like Arden Courts that is a dementia-specific assisted living that can give you respite care. Respite care cost, if you spend the night, of course, and you can set it up for a week of respite care. If you want to go away, if you want to go to a wedding, you want to go to a bar mitzvah, you can plan for that. So it's short-term, meaning that after the stay, then your loved one comes back home to you. Now, respite care can also be in the form of a daycare center, where you may drop off your loved one at a dementia daycare center or a senior center where they're in a safe environment, where they're going to be monitored, and they have activities to do. So while you're doing your own thing, your loved one can do their thing in a safe environment that's going to provide companionship and oversee them so that they also have a break. Because I hate to tell you this, caregivers, but your loved one needs a break from you too. And so it's not just caregivers that need the break, it's the patient, the person with the dementia, the person that has the problems with their memory. They need a break too from the caregivers, because sometimes being together too much is not good. You get on each other's nerves, and so they really like to get a break from you too. And so this is a way for you to do that. I want to offer you complimentary of our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Communities, scattered all across the United States. They understand caregiving. That's all they do. Memory care is all they do. And so they're offering to you, the caregiver, a break in the form of a daycare respite. Try it out for a day. They actually have a name for it. It's called Take Time for Tuesdays. Now, it doesn't have to be a Tuesday. It could be a Thursday. But Take Time for Tuesdays basically is a program that Arden Courts provides for caregivers who need a break, who would like to bring their loved one to Arden Courts for the day, let them participate in activities with the other residents. And this is a way that caregivers not only can take a break, but they can also see how their loved one interacts in a community with others that are also dealing with dementia, that also have that diagnosis. It doesn't matter what kind of dementia it is, pretty much it's memory loss. We talked about different kinds of dementia. And this is a way for you to kind of put your toe in the water, so to speak, and see how they do away from you. It's very important to take that break, and the time that they spend away from you, they're going to be engaged in activities and have meaningful activities and be with their peers and have fun and feeling productive and feeling like, you know, they're at a camp and they're having a great time. It's like a adult camp. It's fun. So I want to stress to caregivers, take a break. You deserve it. And for this month of August, Arden Courts is offering a free day respite stay at any of their Arden Courts, and all you have to do is call the 800 number. So you want to write this down. It's 888-478-2410. Again, it's 888-478-2410. Call them up. You'll speak to a Arden Court representative. They answer the phone 365 days a year from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and tell them that you heard about the respite program they offer at the CareGiver Soulutions Info radio show, and you'd like to find out more about that and maybe schedule a time for your loved one to come to an Arden Courts and have a free complimentary respite day. And they'll be happy to help you, happy to answer all your other questions that you may have, all the details. So give them a call. Make sure you tell them about the show, and make sure you call them for the month of August, because this is a limited time offer, and it is summer, and we want to give the caregivers a break. It's going to get really busy coming the holidays, so you better take some time for yourself now before it gets too crazy. Okay? So remember that. Now, today, we're going to be talking about geriatric care management. What is it? Do I need it? How do I need it? If I do need it, how do I find one? What exactly do they do? I've heard about it, but I'm not so sure that I understand it. And so we're going to be talking about that today, and you're going to be able to meet a care manager who's going to answer all these questions for us. And so we're going to be taking a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be meeting a geriatric care manager. And so stay tuned for this, and we will be right back.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you.
Hi, this is Marcia Teele of CareGiver Soulutions Info. I'd like to tell you about Senior Home Companions. They provide care in the home for seniors by active seniors. The caregivers are mature men and women who understand the needs of seniors. Caregivers are individually matched to each client, creating a bond and a high level of comfort. A nurse registry, Senior Home Companions have been assisting seniors in Palm Beach County for 17 years. For a complimentary assessment, call Gloria at 561-347-6676 to see how a Senior Home Companion can help you.
Make First Choice your first choice for home health care. First Choice is state certified for Medicare covered services such as medical treatment and rehabilitation. Qualified healthcare professionals come to your home and work closely with your doctor to build a care plan designed to get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Founded and operated by registered nurses, First Choice Home Health is dedicated to providing exceptional home health care. Their highly skilled medical professionals have the knowledge and ability to provide patients quality care. Call First Choice Home Health at 561-296-2727. 561-296-2770. That's 561-296-2770. And tell them you want them as your first choice. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, and welcome back. Thanks for joining Caregiver Solutions. Today, we are going to be talking about geriatric care management. And here in the studio, joining me today is Sherry Geller. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Marcia.
Thank you for coming today. Sherry is a geriatric care manager. She's the owner of Senior Options, located here in Boca Raton, Florida. And Sherry, I'm so excited to have you today because I know that this topic is of great interest to a lot of people. But I have something I want to read before we start talking, okay?
Okay.
According to Wikipedia, this is the definition of geriatric care management. Geriatric care management, also known as elder care management or senior health care management or professional care management, is the process of planning and coordinating care of the elderly and others with physical and or mental impairments to meet their long-term care needs, improve their quality of life, and maintain their independence for as long as possible. It entails working with persons of old age and their families in managing, rendering, and referring various types of health and social care services. That's a mouthful. Is that what you do?
It is.
Okay, so why don't you tell me in your words, what does this mean? What exactly do you do as a geriatric care manager?
Okay. So to make it into that long, beautiful definition into just a short sentence or two, I would say that we do assess, and from that assessing the family, the person who is having the issues, we then coordinate, create a plan, coordinate, and oversee. And from that, along the way, we're also communicating a lot, whether it's to professionals, family members, and to the person that we are helping, that we call our clients. And so depending on where we are in the process of when somebody retains us for our services, I could answer it better. So let me start with somebody calls and says, I came down from New York and I'm visiting my mom and I'm noticing a lot of strange things because they've been calling their mom every week, and according to mom, she's going out and playing cards and she's going out with her friends having dinners, and she's just having a grand old time.
And everything's hunky-dory.
Exactly.
And nobody is worried because mom is fine.
Right. It all sounds good.
Right. And then they come down and they find a different story,
and
right?
And they're like, wow, what happened to my mom or my dad or both? So hopefully somewhere along the way, whether it's an attorney, a doctor, they Google it, somebody tells them you need a care manager. So we step in, and what we do first is we conduct a comprehensive assessment. And basically, we at Senior Options, we are social workers. So we are pulling this person apart, not literally, thank God, but literally, but figuratively, from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet and everything else in between. So we're looking at their functioning. We're looking at their cognition, their medical status, their medications, their safety in the home, socialization, family dynamics, entitlements, and
all of that. I mean, you really get involved in all the aspects of their life. You really look at where they're at with all of those areas.
Correct. And even, what did you do for a living? History, who this person is. We're dealing with human beings.
And why is that important?
Because as social workers and care managers, because some of us are nurses and some have come from other disciplines, okay? It's important because we want to know, it's not what we think at Senior Options what this person should be doing, but we really want to find out who this person is and what their wishes are. And taking those wishes and taking all the pieces that we just discussed, it's like a puzzle, and putting all these pieces together to make it work for them, the goal is to give them a good quality of life for wherever they are with what's going on with them, whether it's cognitively, physically, or both, as well as making sure it's safe and affordable.
So what if you're doing this assessment and the person who's the client, they can't answer your questions, or they don't know, or they're not, for whatever reason, able to articulate to you? So who would you talk to then?
Okay, so we don't just, even if the client can answer our questions, we are looking at doctors for information, reports, labs. I mean, we do like I said, it's called comprehensive for a reason. We're really taking everything about this person because right now they're a stranger to us. And we want to make sure, in order to create this plan for them and make recommendations that would work for them and the family, we have to know who we're dealing with.
Right, because it's not like a cookie cutter, one
Right.
size fits all, because everybody's different and everybody has different needs, and you got to figure that out before you give an answer.
Correct. And even we could have two people that we're working with at the same time with the same diagnosis, and that's where the similarities stop. Because again, we are dealing with human lives, with people, and it's not, as I always say, it's not a box of chocolate that we put on the shelf and not worry about it. So we take to heart what we do.
My chocolates never stay on the shelf, by the way. They're gone.
So anyway, that's really, so that's the beginning of the process. And then from there, we create this care plan, which basically states these are all the issues that we've come up with regarding this assessment. And with each issue, again, my company is called Senior Options for a reason. We provide options. We do not make decisions.
Oh, you don't make the decision?
No, we don't. We offer recommendations, solutions to the problems, options with concrete resources, names of people, phone numbers, companies that we deal with, that we have good success with. And from that, then comes, I don't want to say the fun part, but the coordinating of all these different pieces. And now we have to prioritize because we have a lot going on. You walk into somebody whose child hasn't seen the parent for 6, 8, 9 months and thinking everything's good when in reality it's not. Now we're talking about a host of issues. So I've been at assessments where I will call the daughter or loved one, whoever hired me, and say, look, I'm in the process of doing this assessment, but I do not feel comfortable leaving unless your loved one has a caregiver in place.
Wow, so you've come into situations where it's actually dangerous for them to be alone.
Correct. And I will start the process. I won't even finish the assessment. I'm like, we have to get this going now. And once they give me the go-ahead, I make the phone calls and make it happen for them. So that's a big piece of, the assessment and the care plan, that's the roadmap.
Okay.
But once we have that roadmap, now what do we do with it? And again, sometimes there's a lot going on, so we have to prioritize and organize, coordinate,
So
and
when
make
you
it
talk
happen.
about the roadmap, I think that's a great analogy to what you're describing, what you do, because in my mind, when you said that, I see a map and I see different roads and I see different speeds that are speed limits on the road, and I see warning signs and danger signs and slippery slopes and watch out for this curve. And to me, it's like your roadmap is helping to navigate all of those different situations and try to avoid the slippery slopes, right?
Exactly.
And when
Exactly.
you said you have to do your priorities, I saw that, okay, well, we got to get in the fast lane, and get on this road in the fast lane, and maybe this issue we can take our time and put it on the back burner, and we can go the slow route. We can take the scenic route, right?
Right. Exactly.
On this issue because it's not a priority. So we got to get on the highway for this. And this one, we'll take the scenic route and we'll eventually get there. But, we're going to take our time about it. Does that sort of...
Absolutely. That's a great analogy.
I love analogies. And
But
that's what I
also,
see.
Let me just interject here, Marcia, because sometimes, we create this plan and things happen. As we're planning things,
You need a detour.
we need a detour.
Or you get a
Exactly.
detour.
So, Mom, we're going to place her in this facility, and that's part of also what we do is placement. And then she takes a fall and fractures her hip.
And now she can't go right into the assisted living.
Now we're looking at a totally different story. And
So now she's taking a detour on the road, but you have a plan for that too, right?
Exactly, correct. So families come to me, they're in the hospital. First of all, overseeing, not everybody could jump on a plane because most of the families I work with do live out of town. Some live locally, but most live out of town. So not everybody could jump on a plane every time something happens or even when mom just doesn't feel well.
Right, because not only is it difficult because most adult children are working and they have jobs, so they just can't say, hey, boss, I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Florida, to take care of mom. They can't just jump on a plane, leave their job. It's also very expensive. Correct. So at the last minute, you're paying $500 for a one-way flight down, right?
And also, they have other responsibilities. They have children possibly in school.
Animals.
Small, right. So to coordinate for that, sometimes it doesn't happen for them right away, and sometimes they just can't. So with a care manager involved, first of all, they know what's going on. They know mom had a fall, that she's having surgery or she's in the hospital, whatever,
And they feel bad they can't be there.
Exactly. So we are the eyes and ears, okay? And we communicate, again, that is a big piece, not only to our families what's going on, but to the professionals, the doctors, and everybody involved in their care.
So you're sort of like the stand-in daughter.
Yes.
A professional stand-in daughter.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
With the knowledge that probably a lot of daughters wouldn't have, because you deal with this day in and day out, and you're there to represent her, but you're also there in a professional manner to make sure that this person has all their options and gets everything that they need. So the client, as I see it, even though daughter can't be there, somebody is there. Someone's there to make sure that they're going to be okay.
Right, and we advocate for them.
Yes.
And that is a big piece of what we do as well.
What does that mean?
Okay.
To explain how do you advocate for somebody?
Well, just following up, talking to nurses, your client, whether they're in a hospital, assisted living, skilled nursing facility, even home, but in those settings, the amount of staff is limited. It's just the way it is. So I have a client in a room, sharing a room in a skilled nursing facility, and his roommate has nobody visiting. Family's out of town, they come once or twice a year, check in, okay? I'm there once a week at least, okay? And I'm talking to the nurses, and I'm talking to the aides. I'm talking to the receptionist, I'm talking to the administrator. They all know me, they know I am this person's care manager, and I am here to make sure that they are receiving all the care that they should be. And I'm not saying the guy next to him didn't, but certainly the one that is asking the questions, following up, is, checking. A script was written from a doctor. Did you get the script? Yes. Where the meds are here? Did he get the meds? Oh, I didn't realize, things happen. Things fall through the cracks. Mm-hmm. So that's a big part of what we do.
Right. So if a family were in town, they would be there doing it all the time, doing all of these things. But like we just talked about, sometimes it's impossible to be there. And they can't be there, and they need somebody to be that advocate because, like you said, things, just might have a slight fall through the cracks, or, oh, we forgot, or we didn't realize, or, oh, we haven't gotten to that yet. The way the healthcare is, these days, people are so busy, and, there's never enough, that we can give to somebody, because a lot of people are living longer and they need more services, and the system is pretty much overloaded with trying to provide services for everybody.
Right.
It's just you can't do enough.
Right. And so in doing this for 9 years, I've noticed that with the cases we've had and what we brought to the table, the resources, the direction, the recommendations, again, like you said, we do this every day. A daughter comes down, she has one mother, most likely, who's, aging, and she doesn't know. I've had families, they don't even know their mother's or father's primary care physician. I mean, they don't know just the basics at who to call. I mean, because until now, mom and dad were doing well. They were on the, playing golf. They were out with their friends, socializing, enjoying Florida.
Right, right.
But now, 20 years down or 30, they came 65 and now they're 85 or 88, or again, age doesn't matter because it's really where you are.
Right.
I have people that I work with that are 100, 103 and a half.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Wow. They are living longer.
Yes, so save your money.
Yeah.
But again, I've realized that these older adults need somebody as an advocate. They go to doctors, the doctors are talking, they've got their patients waiting for them and they're talking really quickly and they're telling them all these things. And now, she comes home from the doctor, daughter calls, how was it? Good. No, it really wasn't good.
Okay. Well, we're going to hear from a daughter right now. I found out that we have a caller on the line, and her name is Renee. So let's see if we can get her on and talk to Renee. Renee, are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi,
I'm afraid I
Renee.
haven't
Thank you
heard
for
the
calling.
earlier
We
broadcast.
want to talk to you. Apparently, you have been involved with geriatric care management, and you're a daughter, right?
No, my mother-in-law.
So you're a
I am
daughter-in-law.
I am a daughter-in-law.
Okay.
And I want
So
to
can you...
comment on care management for my in-laws?
Okay. And where are you calling from, Renee?
I'm actually calling from the Houston, Texas area.
You're from Houston, Texas. Wow, you're far away. So, Renee, could you share with us what happened in your family, and give us a brief little description of what happened in your family that necessitated perhaps the family coming together and saying, I think we need help. What was your scenario?
Well, this has been evolving over the last 5 years. My in-laws lived up north and were snowbirds and would travel from New York to Florida, and we could see that their facilities were being challenged, that their faculties were being challenged on a lot of levels. Both of my in-laws' sons, lived in different places in the country, and it was difficult for all of us to manage their care. They were driving, they were going to the doctors by themselves, but we really felt we needed somebody to be on site from time to time to help coordinate their medical visits and other things, just to check in and see how they were doing.
Because you weren't sure that when they went to the doctor, they were maybe listening to the doctor's orders or doing what the doctor said, maybe following up. Is that one reason?
Absolutely. We knew they were not following up. We knew they weren't writing things down, and we didn't know what was going on.
So the family collectively decided, even though that you had, the family was there, it was too difficult for you all to do it from afar.
Absolutely.
So what did you do?
So may I use names?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, we through a reference, we found out about Shari Geller.
Oh, well, she's here today in our studio.
Yeah. So she's here today, and we discussed with her some of these issues, so that her office would be able to come and visit our in-laws from time to time and make some assessments and suggestions. So the geriatric care management was a way for us to keep track of what my in-laws were doing when they were the decision makers.
And how did your in-laws feel about having a geriatric care manager? Were they accepting of that, or was there any resistance?
No, there was resistance, but I think in all families there would be resistance in bringing somebody into a home who they didn't know. But everybody got to know each other, and soon it became great because geriatric care management became the eyes and ears for a changing living situation.
Right. And overall, what would you say made the biggest difference having someone to oversee your in-laws?
Well, the lifestyle evolved, in a lot of ways. My in-laws began losing, the ability to take care of themselves very quickly. So we were able to have home aid care, which was also managed by the geriatric management. And,
So they brought in extra services to help.
extra services, and then if things like physical therapy needed to happen, all of that was kind of managed.
And you all, the family, felt comfortable then with knowing what was going on, and that your in-laws got all the services that they needed going forward.
Completely.
Well, that sounds like it really gave your family some peace of mind.
Yeah, it's in this day and age, it's very difficult if the children and the parents are not living near each other. So in our case, in our case, our parents did not want to move to either Texas or California, and insisted on staying in Florida. So this was the best way to maintain the lifestyle that they chose, and
to honor their
also,
wishes.
and honor their wishes.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad it worked out for your family.
Thank you. We are as well.
Well, great. And I want to thank you, Renee, for calling in today and sharing your story with us. We're very much appreciative of that.
Well,
And best wishes to your in-laws for continued success.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing up this most important topic.
You're very welcome. Have a great evening.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Wow, so here we had a daughter calling in. She actually experienced what it was like to have a geriatric care manager to help the family figure things out, take care of things, to give them peace of mind. So we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking more to Sherry Geller, owner of Senior Options Geriatric Care Management. So stay tuned.
Take a pen and jot down this information. Right from the Heart assists families in finding the right living arrangements for their aging parents. Founded in 2012 by Sharon Agate, Senior Lifestyle Consultant, Sharon has counseled seniors and their families for over 20 years in clinical settings and in independent assisted living and memory care communities. Finding the right community can be overwhelming and time-consuming. Right from the Heart takes the stress and worry from you. Sharon will meet with mom or dad and evaluate their needs and lifestyle preferences and create a personalized plan at no cost to you. She will accompany you to visit selected communities and guide you every step of the way so you can be assured you're making a well-informed decision. Call Sharon at 561-374-4696. Sharon's promise to you is in your knowing that her advice will always come right from the heart.
Hi, this is Marcia Teele of CareGiver Solutions Info. I'd like to tell you about Senior Home Companions. They provide care in the home for seniors by active seniors. The caregivers are mature men and women who understand the needs of seniors. Caregivers are individually matched to each client, creating a bond and a high level of comfort. A nurse registry, Senior Home Companions have been assisting seniors in Palm Beach County for 17 years. For a complimentary assessment, call Gloria at 561-347-6676 to see how a Senior Home Companion can help you.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome again to Caregiver Solutions Info, the show for caregivers, bringing you expert professional advice on different topics that would be of interest to family caregivers to help solve caregiving problems. We're talking about geriatric care management, and today we have Sherry Geller with us. She is the owner of Senior Options Geriatric Care Management. Thank you, Sherry, again for being here. You're also a social worker.
I am.
You are. So I was curious, you're a social worker, so are all geriatric care managers social workers?
No.
No. What are they?
We have there's a variety of disciplines. Most, I would say, are RNs and social workers, but there are therapists, there are mental health specialists. Depending, you bring up a good subject because there are people who have helped a loved one personally, okay, let's say with Alzheimer's or dementia, and the person passes, and then they say, oh, I feel I know this, and I could be a care manager. So they create a card, and they create a business, and they're passing out, oh, hi, I'm a care manager.
So they haven't had any formal training.
Correct. And they haven't had supervision.
So they're
And
just sort of like somebody who has some experience and feel like
They could do it.
They could do it without any training, any
Education. Right. I mean, there is something to be said about experience, but there's a lot of other pieces to becoming especially a certified care manager. So, there's pieces, it's your skill set, whether what discipline you are, it's the hours and supervision that we have to put in. And then if you're certified, you have to sit for an exam.
Really?
Yes.
So tell me what's the difference between being certified and not certified? What's the extra that you have to go through to be a certified geriatric care manager?
You have to have a certain level of education, and you have to put in X amount of hours of care management and have supervision, and again, sit for this exam. But you can't sit for the exam until you have those two things. So there's a lot to be said about, just like any other professional you were going to hire, you would make sure that they are credentialed properly and that they have the experience.
So, like, I have a leak in my roof, another analogy, and it needs some attention. I'm just not going to, hire the guy that comes by and say, hey, you have a leak on your roof, let me fix it for you. You're going to check out, make sure that the person that you hired to fix your roof or to take care of your loved one, you're going to make sure that they're licensed, they're credentialed, that they have experience, get some references, right, from them. You want to make sure they're going to do a good job. And so you would say that's what someone should do before they hire a geriatric care manager too, right?
Exactly. And, just like I make sure everybody has to be held accountable. In other words, my caregivers in my homes that are hired, okay, they don't work for me. I am their partner in this. We're all partners. Okay. That's how I see it. So we all have the same goal, that this person is safe, that they're taken care of, that they're getting what they need, and that they're happy for whatever that happy means to them. Mm-hmm. So they report, right. They report to me, and I'm checking up on them. When I make my visits to see my clients, I'm not only looking at how they're presenting and what they're eating and what's in the refrigerator, and I'm looking at a lot of pieces here to make sure they are getting the care that they are supposed to be getting, but I'm also looking at my caregiver. When I say mine, their caregiver. So
the person in the home day to day.
Right. And the reason I'm saying this is we as care managers have to be held accountable. So by belonging to an association, there's a grievance committee, we have a set of standards of practice, ethical standards that we code of ethics that we have to go by. So somebody who is not part of that, and they're missing that whole piece. And I think accountability is very important no matter what level of care you're giving.
Wow. So there's a lot that goes into being a geriatric care manager and being a good one and being somebody that's credible and knows what they're doing. And I think that this is a topic that, everybody needs to be aware of because we hear it a lot. Oh, get a care manager. But how does someone even attempt to find a care manager if they're not here in the local area? And they could call you, of course. Right. But what if they're not in the local area and they need a care manager? What would you suggest?
Okay, so there is an association called, and I have to apologize because we just changed to Aging Life Care Association. So if you Google that, you will get a whole website and it will say how to find a care manager. You'll put in a zip code, how many miles you want it to be, and it'll give you a whole list of people, names, addresses, phone numbers, their credentials, etc., their businesses. It used to be known as the National Association of Professional Geriatric Care Managers.
Yes, that was a mouthful. Yeah, I remember that one.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we're known as ALCA, Aging Life Care Association. So that is probably, in my opinion, the best way, because these are people that belong to association that are being held accountable for what they do.
And someone could find a person like you anywhere in the country
Anywhere
if
in
they
the
Google
country.
that and could find that
Exactly.
and check
Yes.
them out.
And we are all over the country.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I have a couple other questions. So you mentioned being in someone's home and what's in the refrigerator or what they're eating, and what happens if you find out that they're not eating or they're not, they're not thriving. Maybe they're not feeling well, or what if something happens? They have a pain. They're complaining about something. I mean, these are all things that you check out depending upon how often you go. And by the way, how often would you go see somebody?
Okay, so let me answer that first. We could see, I've seen people 3 times a week. I've seen people once or twice a month, depending on what's going on. I've had cases as long as 5 years. Started with a fractured hip, went through that whole process of rehab, getting the right, all the services they needed while they were there, and then where do we go from here? A big piece, and I know I'm venturing off for a minute, but a big piece of what we do is the transition, whether it's transition from a hospital to a rehab to either back home or an assisted living, home to an assisted living, home to a SNF, skilled nursing facility. So I think that's a big role for a care manager is helping guide and direct and get us through the client, getting them through all these transitions. And they happen a lot.
Well, because transitions are hard for anybody. It's a change.
Correct.
And change is hard for anybody, but change is especially hard for someone that's older and someone who has dementia. It's so hard because it's scary for them, and it's not the norm, and people are scared when they don't know what to expect. And so your job is to make that as easy as possible
Right.
and help them through that.
Right. Help them and the family and handhold, and explain the process, how we're going to get through there very slowly. And they feel good knowing that we're the experts. This person does this, again, all day long. This is all new to them.
Mm-hmm.
So back to your first question as to what do we do when there's pain or they're not eating.
When you see something wrong,
Right.
do you yourself take care of it
Okay.
personally, or
Right.
do you call somebody?
Okay, so first I want to make something very clear, and that is we do not diagnose. Okay, that's first and foremost. I think that's important. People are like, well, does my mother have this? I'm like, I'm not a doctor. I don't know, but we're going to find out.
So
from
you're
the
going to say,
doctor.
we're going to call a doctor and we're going to take her to the
The
appointment.
is made, exactly.
And you're going to
So-
go with them to the appointment
Correct.
because the daughter's not here. And you're going to sit there and listen to what the doctor has to say, take
And
notes.
Take notes, ask the questions.
Okay.
And then follow up with the family saying, this is the report from the doctor. These are the options that the doctor is recommending based on what he sees in your mom or dad or loved one. And then we discuss what do these options mean to the person, to the client. And the client, again, they're involved in this as much as they can be.
Right.
And together we figure out what the best steps would be based on the situation.
Well, I think that's important for people to know that a geriatric care manager doesn't, they don't take your temperature and they don't give you a shower and they don't do those kinds of things. They make sure that those things are done by putting in the proper person in the home or getting them to the right place to have those things done. So you're the coordinator of all of these because somebody has to be the gatekeeper. Somebody has to make sure there has to be one person that makes all the doctor's appointments, coordinates getting there, coordinates getting the medication, coordinates getting the physical therapy in the home if they're not, having trouble walking. And so you're a major
right. There's a lot going on, and part of, I think, a major skill is management. It's not only the being able to assess, which is obviously a big part of a skill that you need, otherwise the rest doesn't matter. But once we get through that assessment and care plan, it's how good are you at prioritizing, organizing, following up and communicating what's going on.
So it has to be a good match with someone's personality too to be a care manager, because, like you say, you can do so much, but there's a lot of detail involved.
Very much so. And even, I mean, I'm a little, I don't know if the word's controlling, but when I send a fax, I have my assistant or myself or part of somebody in my team make sure that the fax was received. I mean, that's how detailed we get, because, you know, you said you sent it. Well, we never received it.
Right. You said, he said, she said.
Exactly.
Well,
so we are very big on follow-up, and I'm a stickler for
You know
dotting
what?
those I's and crossing those T's, because, again, not to repeat myself, but I take it to heart. You know, this is a human life.
And that's why you do what you do, because you care. And I think that every professional that works in healthcare, I think they need to have a heart for what they do, because it's a terrible thing when someone just does it for a job. And when in healthcare, you have to have the heart for it. And I know you do. So we're going to take another quick last break, and we'll be back with some last words with Sherry Geller. So stay tuned.
Take a pen and jot down this information. Right from the Heart assists families in finding the right living arrangements for their aging parents. Founded in 2012 by Sharon Agate, Senior Lifestyle Consultant, Sharon has counseled seniors and their families for over 20 years in clinical settings and in independent assisted living and memory care communities. Finding the right community can be overwhelming and time-consuming. Right from the Heart takes the stress and worry from you. Sharon will meet with mom or dad and evaluate their needs and lifestyle preferences and create a personalized plan at no cost to you. She will accompany you to visit selected communities and guide you every step of the way so you can be assured you're making a well-informed decision. Call Sharon at 561-374-4696. Sharon's promise to you is in your knowing that her advice will always come right from the heart. Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you. Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. Make First Choice your first choice for home health care. First Choice is state certified for Medicare-covered services such as medical treatment and rehabilitation. Qualified healthcare professionals come to your home and work closely with your doctor to build a care plan designed to get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Founded and operated by registered nurses, First Choice Home Health is dedicated to providing exceptional home health care. Their highly skilled medical professionals have the knowledge and ability to provide patients quality care. Call First Choice Home Health at 561-296-2770. That's 561-296-2770. And tell them you want them as your first choice. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Hi, and welcome back. We've been talking to Sherry Geller from Senior Options. Senior Options is a geriatric care management company, and thank you for coming again, Sherry. I want to end our day with you telling us either a typical day of what you do or maybe giving us a success story, real quick, how you made a difference in someone's life.
Sure. I'll go with the success story.
Okay.
So we were hired recently. This woman was in an assisted living, and she was just failing. For whatever reason, she was failing. She broke her shoulder, broke her wrist and shoulder. Family hired us just to stabilize her enough so she could get on a plane because they were moving her back up north to the Suns.
Right.
And again, it's one of my team managers. It's her case, but can't tell you if it was 6 weeks or 4 weeks. But within time, she turned things around with the oversight and bringing resources in place and following up that she is now living in her condo in Florida, which she really wanted to stay with an aide.
So it all turned around completely. That is a success story. Well, thank you for all the work that you do. If someone wants to call you, how do they contact you?
Well, we have a 1-800 number, which is 1-800-585-6720. Our local number is 561-372-8026. Or you could go on our website, which is www.senioroptions.com.
Wonderful. So give Sherry a call. She'll be happy to answer your questions, meet with you, give you more information, see if she can help your situation with your family member. Also, don't forget to call Arden Courts and get information on the free respite daycare that Arden Courts would be happy to provide to you to give you, the caregiver, a little extra time for yourself. You want to take a break, and Arden Courts is happy to provide this for you, a free day. Go to the beach if you want to, read a book all day. It doesn't matter what you do, but take a break for yourself. Give your loved one a break. Let them have some fun doing activities at Arden Courts Memory Care Community. They're scattered all over the United States, and to find one near you, call the 800 number to Arden Courts at 888-478-2410. Tell them you want to hear about the respite program, and you heard about it on the Caregiver Solutions info show, and they'll be happy to set that up for you and take a break. You deserve it. And I hope that you join us again next week for another show. Caregiver Solutions info is here for you. So whether you hear us on the local radio or you're joining us on our live cast on the internet, or you can actually pick up other shows that are archived on the website. I hope that you are learning something, and if you are, let us know. So until next week, thank you very much, and don't forget to give somebody a hug.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teele. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions.